Clement here. Chris Ramish.
Here.
Paul Palmerville.
Here.
Joel Jones, not here. And Anderson present, Mark Kuchar.
Present. Okay, thank everybody for coming out tonight. Any additions, deletions, changes to the agenda?
I'd like to add to the consent agenda, item F, the approval of employment of Stephen Goldberg as middle high school custodian.
All right. Any other additions, deletions? Okay. If not, we need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Support.
Motion and support, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Community comments, anybody like to address the board at all? Student Spartans.
Hey, tonight we are recognizing Claire Donahue. Why not, Claire? Claire was nominated by Mrs. Gilman. Claire is a very polite and hardworking student that strives to do her very best. She not only excels in the classroom, but Claire puts in 20+ hours at the gym, training at the junior Olympic level 9 gymnastics facility in Bay City. Her success in both her schoolwork and gymnastics shows how much passion she has to reach her goals she sets for herself. Claire Donahue. And our high school student of the month is Hannah Floyd. You can have a seat, Claire. And she's out on the basketball court right now. So, she was nominated by Mrs. Palmerville. Hannah has proven herself to be both an outstanding student and individual. She has pushed herself to the highest academic standards while still participating in several extracurricular activities, and Hannah definitely has a bright future ahead of her. So,
You gotta come back for a picture.
hey, Hannah Floyd is with high school.
Thank you, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Consent agenda.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the consent agenda and pay bills totaling $525,547.35.
Support. We have motion and support, any discussion? If not, roll call vote please.
Tom McBauer.
Yes.
Chris Ramish.
Yes.
Paul Palmerville.
Yes.
Jerry Clement. Yes. Andy Anderson, yes. Mark Kuchar.
Yes. Motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Mulligan, welcome to staff. Glad you showed up tonight.
Thanks, guys.
Communication from Mr. View.
Thank you, Mr. Kuchar. Just 4 items tonight. Facility updates. I've been kind of keeping you abreast on those things. If you notice, the softball nuggets are gone. I wanted to recognize Kirk from Church Lawn Care. He basically came out with tobacco. I had a couple of his guys and with our maintenance crew got those taken down. Dan LePan, our architect, told me that the company, the masonry people were itching to get started because of the mild conditions and whatnot, so we're going to see how that project goes. Also, Mr. Shane Olette donated 3 dumpsters to the district and only going to charge us, I think, a dumping fee. Is that what he mentioned?
Yeah, he was charging anything had to go to the landfill, and
So,
he ran pretty nonstop.
What's that?
He ran pretty nonstop all day for
Yeah,
us.
because we had to separate between the building materials and the cement, but no, he said, yeah, I'm an alumni, I just want to charge you this, and Turk did the same, so I think that shows what type of community members we had to kind of help out. That could have taken a lot longer and had a little more dollars behind it as well, so thanks to them. We also had started the run and wire at Central to get those unit ventilators regulated. John, has that process been going okay?
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is, I got some floor covering prices for tile at Central, and those are all asbestos tiles, so I got a hold of John Rykoff. He's the abatement specialist, and I'm supposed to have a meeting with him sometime this week so he can look at what it would entail to abate that tile. I might have to meet with site committee. I mean, there are some other options possibly if we find that the abatement and the flooring is too high. Maybe we can look at putting something over the tile where you wouldn't have to abate, but then again your price goes up a little bit, but then you make like a thin rubber flooring of some sort. But I'd like to maybe at least throw it by the site committee once I get the abatement numbers, that type of stuff. But it is, in the past, when we've worked that tile up in the hallways, the tile was asbestos. Any questions about any of the projects? All right, chamber banquet, I was at the banquet recently. 2 of our employees were honored, Mr. Stoneback for Citizen of the Year and Mrs. Pingett for the Arts and Heritage Award. Just nice to see our people being recognized. Mike does a great job in our community, Linda, she does a great job in our district for our students, and then just so happened she had the idea of, there's a pumpkin contest we do in the fall now, that giant pumpkin, have you heard about that at all? And it was kind of a neat event, I think they want to grow it, and so she was kind of honored for that, bringing that to the chamber. State budget, I've included a PowerPoint, if you look that over, I went to a conference recently, and I just want to point out a few things. A couple of things of that, there's some pending legislation. Still the Michigan Merit Curriculum, they're still looking at making changes to that. That will impact our students as to what requirements they have. The state budget, if you looked in here, it talked about the state budget was, school aid fund is going up approximately 85 million more in the school aid fund based on the May prediction. But they're also talking about a lot of pressure on the taxes that they collect, and also some of the credits that are giving out, and some of the money that is being dedicated to roads and for environmental cleanup. So there could be a little bit of pressure in the future. They did talk about maybe just a tentative increase from anywhere from 100 to 200 on the foundation allowance. So that number always can change, but then the governor released her version of the budget, which I think is gonna get very, some resistance, because it's definitely, there's some areas in there I'm sure she'll get some resistance from the other side of the aisle. But the one thing I wanted to really kind of point out here is, if you look at toward the end of this PowerPoint, this was a study, kind of a report done by Michigan Association of School Boards, and they go through the last 5 years in the sessions as far as funding, and they talk about all the public acts that have taken money away from the school aid fund, and every year there's a few more. I mean, they're not taxing certain things to go in the school aid fund, so they're giving tax breaks so that that money doesn't go and help the school aid fund. And it's like, not a ton of them every year, but there's enough to where if we continue down this road, it's gonna really erode the school aid fund. And if you'll notice at the bottom of the last, maybe the first slide, that over the last 6 years, let me get so I can see it better. The total that has been diverted from the school aid fund because of the tax credits is $276 million, which is $187 per student. So let's say they didn't do that, they didn't make these small tax breaks, we would have approximately $225,000 annually in our budget. And that's not because we're increasing taxes. I mean, it would still be funded the same way. It's just that the legislature, if they didn't divert this money, the school aid fund would be that much healthier. So we gotta make sure our legislators know that those types of switcheroos are hurting the ability to continually fund districts. So, Mark, did you see something similar to that? I mean, it's a MASB.
Yeah.
So that, that's not just one-time dollars, that would be every year if that $187 per pupil. So we just gotta be cognizant that we work with our legislators, that they don't continue to try to divert some of the tax dollars, and just so we have a healthy school aid fund. Any questions about that? All right. Calendar, been working with George at the PEA. We're looking at a tentative calendar, we're getting close. Talked to Mr. Kuchar. This year we have the ability to count 38 hours of professional development toward days of instruction, which is something that is new. And basically, you have to jump through a lot of hoops, and one of them is the board has to, they have to adopt a committee, or have to approve a PD committee, and it has to have a certain amount of members. And the nice thing is we already have a committee, just don't have every member that they're calling for. So in the springtime, we'll ask the board to, appoint a committee, and then we'll work with Donnie on getting the activities approved. So 3 days next year, we're looking at potentially using PD as instructional time. I wanna let the community know it is gonna be a, pre-Labor Day start, which, we had that waiver 2 years ago. It's just the day, I haven't really got the date knocked down yet, but it will be prior to Labor Day. And, looks like we'll be done around the first week of June. So, that's the tentative look at the calendar. It isn't finalized, and it's an item that we have to negotiate, but we've kind of gotten similar ideas on where we think we're gonna be. So the calendar look quite a bit like this year, but, I don't know if there's any, there won't be any major changes. Spring break and the Christmas break are all common throughout the ISD. So, hard to believe, but we're looking to plan for next year, and, getting those things out. People wanna know when graduation day is, and, you know, when they start booking their stuff, so we're gonna try and get that calendar done. Any questions about that? Yeah, if you'll notice here, we had some pretty good hires. We have a bus driver, we have a bus aide, we have a custodian. We've been really looking to get those people, and I'd also like to welcome Walter to the Spartan family. He's, comes to us with, as you saw in your, board packet, quite a bit of experience, but this will be his first head varsity coaching job, so we're gonna be behind him, win or tie, just like all our coaches, right? No, welcome aboard, Walter.
Thanks, guys.
Any other questions for Mike? All right, we don't have a student rep, I just wanna make sure that we get the, information to, the journal. So, Craig, did you get that?
I got it.
Copy, good. All right, brings us to Mr. Furman.
Good, thank you.
Wow, excellent.
You see that? Mr. Baderford's out there, and now just, we should've did that sooner.
I was threatened. I threatened him earlier for you.
Oh, thanks.
If we adjourn at 7:12, we may have a record.
No, you won't. You're way past that now.
He said he would start.
All right, other administrative staff, any reports? No? All right. Board committees, we don't have any?
Nope, next, like I said, I'm gonna try to meet with site maybe next, coming, and then maybe policy. We had to finish up some of that policy stuff with, but this 2 weeks we didn't have any.
All right. In that case, any other public comment?
I got one thing I want to bring up.
Mr. Badeford.
On the ISD, last meeting, we discussed about being a hub for this 5th-year graduation thing, so that's in the works at the ISD, and to coordinate, you know, all the schools here in the Bay Arneck area to, you know, going back and forth to college and so on and so forth, to make sure we're not gonna be in charge of anything. We will just be a hub for the schools to send their kids to us, and we will get them to the right college and the right place. So we're discussing
really
that, and I
sounds
think we'll finalize that, I think, at our next meeting next Monday.
Great. Thank you, sir. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
As I was telling Mike, just to let the board know, if you didn't hear, we got a walk-in at the Journal last week. Mrs. Marquis, her son Derek was an '07 graduate. Next week on the 18th, he will be on Chopped on the Food Network.
Oh,
He was took the culinary classes down at the ISD at the Skill Center. Went out to Colorado to Johnson and Wales University for a culinary arts degree. Got an associate's out of there. Went to Rhode Island to get a bachelor's, and I think it said a master's in hotel and restaurant management. He's now the personal chef of a apparently wealthy individual, because this winter they're splitting their time between Santa Barbara and Puerto Vallarta. And I guess he got recruited for Chopped in 2017. They recorded the show in 2018, and it's finally going to hit the.
wow.
And his mother said, "I don't know what happened."
Really?
She said he couldn't tell me, and they told me he couldn't tell, and he was serious about it. She said, I will see it for the first time on on the 18th.
All right, I'll be looking.
So yeah, pretty cool. Always it'll be front page of the paper this week. Always the local boy makes goods
Yeah.
is
that's
always
great.
good stories.
Thank you, sir.
So
Anybody else? All right, any discussion items? No? All right,
Motion adjourned.
the motion support, any discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.